Today's social media segment is brought to you by South Louisiana Bank. It's better when we bank together. Waits and Downer, attorneys at law. Terrebonne Ford, built Ford tough.
Everybody, welcome into Going Public. I am Harry McCullough. This week we'll be talking coastal issues and Terrebonne Parish levy district. We'll also talk about state levy districts and anything to do with coastal restoration. You know these guys, they're in a little different positions now. Gordon Dove, of course, former parish president, now a member of the cabinet of Governor Landry, which part of your affairs is the executive assistance for coastal affairs. So CPRA would fall under that purview. Tony Alford, of course, the chairman now of the governor's Coastal Advisory Commission and the TLCD board president, and Reggie Dupree, of course, the executive director of the Terrebonne Levy and Conservation District. I hope I got all that right.
You got it.
Kind of moved you guys around a little bit. Yeah. So let's start with that, and Gordon, and talk a little bit about your new job and what you're in charge of and those kind of things. And I know a lot of people around here are very interested in your new role.
Right. Well, Governor Landry appointed me as the executive assistant to the governor of coastal affairs, which is a cabinet position, which I thank the governor, and I'll do the best job I can on it, and I'm very familiar with the coast, and which actually puts me as chairman of the Coastal Protection Restoration Authority Board. The job of the board is to create the 6-year master plan and every year do the annual plan, which is the actual projects that are funded through the legislature. And this year our budget is $1.7 billion with a B. And now once the last meeting, the CPRA board, which Tony sits on the board, and they passed the annual plan. So then it goes to the House. It goes to the Natural Resource, the Transportation Committee, Natural Resources Committee, and then Appropriations, then to the House floor, then the Senate, Natural Resources, Senate Transportation, Senate Finance, and then to the full Senate, and then to the governor for his signature. Now, the annual plan is an up or down vote. You can't add to it, you can't subtract it. Reason that was that we put it back when Reggie and I were actually in the legislature, and Reggie can elaborate on that. If you would let people amend it, you'd have 144 amendments. You got 144 legislators.
106 billion, yeah.
Yeah, so you constantly have amendments. So it's aired through the public. The legislators are there. The legislators they actually contact us, and this is the projects they want, and we try to appease everyone. And so once the plan is put into action, and CPRA under the direction of the executive director, which is Glenn Leday from Thibodeau, he actually implements it under our direction. And he's got the engineers and everyone's under him, but they're under us on the direction that the plan is implemented to what we passed.
Right. So you guys are obviously very familiar and things you guys have been doing. Tony, how's your new role? You're one of 21 board members, right?
No, well, I'm one of 24 board members.
I got you.
I'm on the governor's advisory committee, which is made up of 35 members, representing industry and to give advice on what they think are key roles or projects that should take place and or any conflicts that take place with the projects that we're putting in place. And so by being chairman of that particular committee, it puts me automatically on the CPRA board, 21-member board, that Gord is chairman of. And so I'm real excited about it. I think there's some great things that are going to take place. We've even had some new members put on that I feel like we're going to be very, very aggressive I'm excited about that. And, you know, the meeting we had yesterday, I think everybody in the room agreed with something that Gordy and Reggie and I and other people have been preaching forever is we're going to be putting a lot of rocks out there to protect those Barry Islands that we all grew up fishing on and protecting us for so many years. Now we'll be able to implement a lot of that maybe in the past we were not as aggressive or able to do. So I think it's going to be a great opportunity to do with, on the Louisiana coast, what we've done here. And that's to push aggressively to make things happen, to protect those people on the coast that have been waiting around for some serious protection.
Reggie, nice to have people in high places, right?
Exactly. And I'm very, so I'm moving out in about 110 days. I'll be retiring, and I'm very, very pleased and excited to see what's happening in Baton Rouge, because being part of it way back in the infancy, back in 2006, now to see my two good friends and right here in Terrebonne Parish taking over the chairmanship of both of these bodies, I think is fantastic.
Yeah.
As we move forward to protect us. And seeing the state of Louisiana adopting our philosophy of multiple lines of defense and trying to, use some common sense in these coastal issues.
Right. And so we were talking before we started taping, and Gordon, I was asking how the commute was going to Baton Rouge, but you actually are going to bring, the position is going to actually bring some things to Thibodeau, and it's good news for Nickel State.
Yeah, and the governor was actually the first one to push it, and I was actually going to recommend it because at Nickel State under Dr. J. Clune, they're building a $20 million, 40,000 square foot coastal center to get these students into coastal type of work, from civil engineering to coastal biology and it's different science work. And so we're going to have 5,000 square foot in the new building, and we will have a large presence in Thibodeau. And what Governor Landry's idea is, that is really the closest university to the Gulf Coast. So why not have it there? They're building a beautiful facility, and we will be moving in there. It should be finished in about 8-9 months. And actually, Debbie Artigo, who's worked for me for 20 years, is going to be the office manager of coastal affairs in that 5,000 square foot office facility in Nickel State in Thibodeau.
And you're also talking, you get a Thibodeau man that's going to be working for you with CPR and an engineer too, right?
Well, yeah, well, what it is me and Tony recommended to the governor, and he appointed Glenn Leday, which is executive director. He's the head of all the engineers that actually get out there and get it done, the day-to-day stuff. And he'll have his office. Naturally, they have a large office. They have about 300 people that work for him right on the river in Baton Rouge. And of course, he'll have an office here. We'll have some DNR presence also. And then they already have people with CPRA, that some gentlemen that do work, some engineers that work out of Thibodeau. They'll be moved into that office.
Yeah.
In the meantime, I want to thank Dr. Clune. He's located us some temporary offices in the university. We're actually moving it as we speak. So it's going to happen. And like I said, we do have $1.7 billion in projects. It's the largest amount of projects that we've got. And remember, 80% of that is actual construction. 20% is engineering, land acquisitions and other things, but 80% is construction of the $1.7 billion.
Yeah, which is amazing. It's good to see all these things work. We, for so many years, had always, when we get to this, right, it's always, down the road, but it's so good to see shovels in the dirt and actually, I guess more importantly, the money actually getting in, right?
And one of my main objectives to taking this position is, for years, I've fought, Tony's fought, Reggie's fought segmented breakwater rocks on the Barry Islands. But the good thing is, the Governor Jeff Landry is 100% behind it. We have a green light to do from Texas to Mississippi. Segmented breakwater rocks. Now we're not only lining the Barry Islands, but we're going east and west of them and choking the passes down. If you don't, especially in Terrebonne, Lafourche, you don't choke the passes down. You've got to stop that salt water, that high salinity level salt water, from coming into Terrebonne. naturally, that's what the lock does too. So it's an environmental structure.
Right. So when might some of these rocks start going into play?
Well, right now we're going into engineering.
Right.
We hope in about a year and 3-4 months.
Well, which is another
hope.
right, which is another good reason to have local knowledge of this, right? Because if you put rocks below Terrebonne, you put rocks below St. Mary, they do two different things, right? You
That's
got to know how that's all going to work.
Well, St. Mary has the chapel eye. So
Right,
it's a
but I'm
different
saying
deal.
the
Yeah.
currents, they all go in different directions.
Right, that's correct.
And you got to know where
They actually split at Fouchon east and west.
Right.
At Fouchon.
and if you put the rocks in the wrong place.
Well, but remember, Grand Isle is to the east of Fouchon, and it's very successful. Raccoon Island, if any viewers out there would go on your Google Earth and pull up Raccoon Island, which is to our southwest, and blow it up, you see the rocks. And this is a satellite view. They were placed in 8 foot of water, 300 foot from the beach, and the sand goes all the way out there. It works.
Right.
Then go to Rockefeller Reserve out in western Louisiana, and those rocks are shoreline rocks, which are successful. So we've got 3 different areas that are all successful, and to me, that's as good as any study. We're not studying, we're moving forward.
But that's my point, right?
Yes.
You know, because
Yes.
you start bringing certain people in, different people in, and they might have 6 different things, and you get paralyzed by studies, right?
There's enough applications that have been done in the past where, again, as Gordy said, you don't have to study. You see the applications and how they take place and what's taking place in those areas. And so, you're ready to move forward, engineer it, and
Reality is the best study.
Right,
Yes.
right.
If you have something that's proven, go.
Yeah, there's like in our lifetimes anyway, to see it all go away and then to see these rebuild if you do it right, and let Mother Nature help with the rocks.
And then right quick, if we have to, after 20 years that I've been in it, and Reggie been in it a little longer than me, and Tony been the same amount of me, if we have to study something, shame on everyone. If we don't know what to build by now, we never will.
Well, that's always been the thing, right? We pay for the studies, we never do anything. So, hey, we're going to start looking at some of that work. We'll take a break. We'll be right back on Going Public right after this.
Today's social media segment is brought to you by Alford and Associates for all of your insurance needs. CIS, Cardiovascular Institute of the South, the highest quality cardiovascular care available. Barker Honda, the Barker family tradition of quality.
Everybody, welcome back into Going Public. Harry McCullough here with Gordon Dove, Tony Alfred, and Reggie Dupre. We're talking coastal restoration, and we're talking now more about the Terrebonne Levee and Conservation District. And we want to talk about locks because you guys just got a couple of big grants that were awarded from CPRA, right?
Right. It's the largest grant ever awarded by the Restore Ag Council on the Morganza project was $163 million, and that's part of this $350 million lock that Reggie and Tony fixes talk about. And at the same time, we got $130 million on the Maurepas diversion, which is really, it is a good project. It's really, on the east side of the river.
So, like, first day at work, you were approving locks, right?
Well, this took quite a few years, yeah. But we actually started the lock 12 years ago.
Yeah.
It's been a long time.
Okay. Reggie, you want to take over and tell us a little more about some of your projects here?
Well, let me give you on the background of the Houma Navigational Canal Lock. 12 years ago, then State Representative Gordon Dove calls Tony Alford and Reggie Dupre and says, I'm going to try to get you guys $400 million of Restore Act funding when he sat on CPRA to build the Houma Navigational Canal Lock. Now, okay, it would be great, but, we didn't really know it was going to happen. But
Pipe dream.
yeah, at first we thought it was a pipe dream, but here we are. The contract is signed. We are actually going to bid. We went to bid, and we are under construction on phase 2 of the Houma Navigation Canal Lock Complex for about $320 million. It's unbelievable that,
So
that
Terrebonne
is-
Parish will almost be completely surrounded by lock system.
That's right. Combat that with the other locks that was built by the parish, converting some of the older floodgates in Montague and in Chauvin. But I think we have some slides of the HNC. Of course, this is the Morganza to the Gulf alignment, 98 miles that everybody's seen so many times of the whole system. But we focusing in, I think, on the next slide on the that's the existing Bubba Dove HNC floodgate built in 2013 for about $52 million. So back then, when Tony said we building this project on our own, we knew that we had to close the channel some type of way. We couldn't afford to build a lock. We couldn't afford to build a sector gate. That's the most we could afford to build, but it works and it held the water back, and you used it numerous times. That floodgate will be part of the new lock complex. We will be keeping that barge floodgate in place, and it will be modified in phase 3.
Okay, next slide.
This is part of phase 1 of the lock, which is about $12 million. This is the operations area where it was built to +9 acres of area. That was 9 or 10 acres to put the operations center for the lock, and we dredged over 1 million cubic yards of material. If you go to the next slide, you'll see. Back up one. So we created 150 acres of wetlands with the dredge material in phase 1 and self-mitigated this project. And it's the best beneficial use of dredge material, which these two guys on the side of me have been pushing for many years. Right. This is the artist rendition of the final complete HNC lock complex. Like I said, now it is under construction, and it'll take 4 years to build. I don't know if they have anything you want to add on it.
This is going to be, this is the linchpin of the entire system. Stopping the salt water from coming in as it's been, right? Stopping from people getting water in their yards with a south wind in some areas, right? And keeping fresh water in the system to be able to spread throughout those tributaries and make everything fresh as it once was.
Right.
Great things.
Yeah, and then the south side of it, those sector gates are 23 feet above sea level. The interior is 110 by 800. But if you got a vessel that can't go in a 110, bigger than really 90 feet, then you could open the Bubba Dove, which is existing, which will protect you while you're building this. That's 250 feet.
Right.
So commerce-wise, we lose no commerce.
Right. So, this is the linchpin, as you said, and really, after Katrina, the Mystigo, when all of that water came up Mystigo, this has been my nightmare forever. And to have this in place will make a completely different. I mean, Ida came, but it was on we didn't catch the right side of it,
See, we didn't want to close. This is all Mystigo, but we didn't want to close it. We want to control
Correct.
it.
Exactly.
And for all economic purposes, and that's what this does.
And also, that is built to -24 for 20-foot navigable. Right now, we're in the process, we're 15-foot navigable on H&C. The Port Commission is going to a -20 navigable, which will bring larger vessels into Terrebonne Parish for economic, for jobs and industry.
Lots more commerce. They would not allow us to dredge it with the salt water that was coming in the system as it was. They thought it would just mean more.
Yeah.
And you could see all the vegetation that dies on the side of this canal, so you can understand why.
Sure.
So we'll be able to do that now.
Yeah, and then look, that salt wedge came up this year, just like the Mississippi.
And the biggest advantage to the navigation industry, you see right now, we have to close that big barge Bubba Dove floodgate 24 hours in advance of a hurricane. With this lock, the navigation industry will be able to seek safe harbor until it's absolutely unsafe to operate, until the wind starts blowing above 40 miles an hour.
Right.
So we can let everybody seek safe harbor and into Terrebonne Parish.
That'll be great. Great news for everybody involved, including obviously the ships that need to come and go. All right, Boudreaux Canal is next.
Okay, so I'll go ahead. So we have the two oldest sector gates built in Terrebonne Parish in 89 in Boudreaux Canal and 92 in Bayou Terrebonne. I'll go ahead and yield to Gordy because when he was parish president, he used some money and converted both of them.
Yeah, this was completely funded by the taxpayers of Terrebonne Parish. We added a gate up top of the picture. We added by the gates and we made a chamber, and then, of course, that made a lock system out of the old system for about $12 million. And it's got a control house. And when they shut this, we also built some pump stations that's further up the bayou, about 2 miles. And Chauvin is now under force pump.
So Petit Caillou is the one the pump you're talking about?
Petit Caillou.
Right, that'll be the next slide.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. That was Boudreaux Canal.
Boudreaux Canal,
Boudreaux Canal is Petit Caillou. Yeah.
I got you.
That's the pump station that keeps Petit Caillou. Petit Caillou is a forced drainage area now. They don't have to worry about flooding as long as somebody's running those pumps right there and they close that gate.
Yeah.
And it was just closed with its front yesterday, and this morning when the wind shifted from the north, it was reopened and the pumps had turned
It is
off.
pushing all that fresh water into Lake Boudreaux from
Which
Petit
you
Caillou.
need. Yeah, which we need.
So it's an environmental pump as well.
All right. So,
And the next one, that's by Terrebonne, which is actually on the Morganza alignment. As you did, there was an old gate that was built ready in the 1980s.
92, that one.
92, and we added that gate, but it was on the turn of the bayou, so we had to sort of make the turn there, and GIS did the engineering, did a great job, and we added a gate. That was about 14 million. So that, and then Reggie and them and Tony and them are designing a pump here, and we're gonna put 2 gates by the Twin Span and Company Canal and put force pump into Bayou Terrebonne all the way back to Houma.
I think the next
That's
slide
the
is the
plan.
artist rendition of the pump station, not the,
Yeah,
There you go.
That's the one they're designing, and that's going to be on the existing lock system. And so that is a lock system. So you got 2 lock systems and 1 under construction.
right.
And that pump station is under design and engineering, and they're actually lifting that wall. They're engineering to lift it, right?
That's right.
wow.
To 16 feet, that's right.
See those big pumps working there. Now, these are some complete pumps.
That's on Morganza alignment. That's
The hands.
That's 1,000 CFS. That's 1 million gallons every 2 minutes. And that pumps the Chacahula Basin.
Right.
And of course, Harry, with
we got
all this
2 like
taking
that.
place right now, we're also, and we talked about this before, racing to get the 15-foot on the levees, especially from the east side as far as we can, all the way to the Bubba Dove and beyond to the other side of Dularch.
Right.
So we're going to 15 feet from 12. We never thought we'd get to 15. Well, a
About
lot,
half
right?
of them already done.
Yeah. So,
Right, and
so
then-
it's a bunch of them are done already too.
Right. And then the last picture we have is Elliott Jones pump.
That's assisted to Hanson, and there again, that's on the Morganza alignment. That's 1,000 CFS. Between both them pumps, they'll pump 1 million gallons a minute.
Right.
So
And
you
that
gotta
pumps out, that pumps out Chacahula Basin, which is the lakes, Westgate, Summerfield, all of 311, Chacahula, Gibson. I mean, it's thousands and thousands of homes. And there's one more to be built on the Geraldine Road, which is funded. And this next, the next administration should go under construction with it.
So you got to remember these 3 big pump stations are a result of back in the early 1980s, the Corps of Engineers did a study of backwater flooding from the Chaffalay River and determined that along Bayou Black and Terrebonne Parish, you needed 3,000 cubic feet per second of pumping. Now, that first plan was to put it all at Elliott Jones, but that would have meant you'd have had to dig up a lot of property. I mean, to put that much on one canal. So rather than having it all at Elliott Jones, Gordy, when he was parish president, had him put 1 at Hanson, 1 at Elliott Jones, and the third one will be so the Bayou Black acts as a manifold, so it can distribute all this this water to the
And remember, we drained Thibodeau.
Oh, yeah,
We
absolutely.
drained a lot of Thibodeau.
Probably drain
And-
Pierre Part
and the one on
Sorrento and everything
The
else.
good thing about the one on Geraldine Road, we already have the Corps of Engineers permit, we have DNR permit, and we have $15 million in federal money. So actually Geraldine costs us the citizens not a penny out of their pocket, local tax dollars. It's all federal money. And it is funded 100%.
Yeah. And then the Miners Canal, that'll be next, right?
No, miners will stay like it is, but you do have to build a gate.
The Corps of Engineers will be building
They'll
a
work on
federal
that.
gate on
Yeah,
Miners Canal.
that's a whole different,
Right.
but that won't have a pump. No.
That'll be the western side.
Because you try to keep where the boats can get to the coastal from Bob Black Marina.
Right. Absolutely. Well, guys, interesting. We learned a lot. Appreciate y'all new positions, understanding a little more about what you guys are going to be doing in Baton Rouge for sure.
We're excited. We'll make it happen.
Yeah, thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Harry.
you.
That's
Thank you,
Going
Aaron.
Public for this week. I'm Harry McCullough. We'll see you guys next time.